So is it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? Those memories. Was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? So is it all for nothing? If I stay, would you run from me? If I go, would you be happy here in the end? So is it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? Those memories. Was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? So is it all for nothing?
Thought I had her in a lucid grip, that I'd take my time. She keeps calling and she just won't quit, and we all know why. Screws tried to lure me right into an affidavit. Remind me as I'm falling in, I'm out of time. I'm caught up in your tongue, they say. You claim that you love me, but it's just another play.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SDL Semifinals. This is our first semifinal set. It is Daddy Daycare versus Nachos Supremos. It is the one, the only Panda Bear Ash, and the arguably better caster, the Big Ian. How's it going, my man?
I'm doing good today. How are you feeling? Like, I know you're obviously paying a little bit more attention than I am, considering the team that is going to win this set. Ultimately, you may have to play in the finals.
Possibly. I'm at least hoping so, but I am really excited for this set. Let's throw right into picks and bans, wasting zero time. Darn. Production diff. Shaking my head. Okay, Vile. Anyways, yes, we do have Vile on the camera, the one, the only, my best friend. Not really, he's my acquaintance, I guess.
Is there anything you're expecting to see out of these picks and bans fairs?
No, not really.
Really?
I mean, I that's, I'm not expecting to see too much. That's
We do see an arachne ban.
yeah, it's interesting. Because there's a funny coinky dink with that one.
Yeah, I believe that it is comp banned at the minute. However, I may have to go and check that after.
Yeah, no, Arachne is comp banned. Hilarious, if you ask me. But you know what? We aren't gonna worry about that one. It's all good. But we're gonna talk about this because I am actually expecting a few things. One, I think we're going to see Zelda Scylla at some point in the set. It's one of Zelda's favorite gods, and we see it quite a lot. So I think it'd be a definite good pick for him.
Yeah, we've come to see it a lot during the regular season. Zelda's obviously favouring it. And yeah, it should come as no surprise that we'll see it.
Yeah, it definitely should. And I think also we're going to see some other picks. Often we're seeing a lot. I mean, looking at the bans, right? Cupid has always been a premier pick for End of Days. It's one of his favorite gods. No, the amount of times I've faced him, he's played Cupid quite a lot. He also found recent success with Danzaburo. And, Oler. End of Days has stepped up his god pool from the beginning of the season, and he's improved so much. He went from, undrafted to one of Nachos Supremos' top players. I mean, it's him and Narcos that you think of when, who's going to carry this game. It's a safe bet. It's either him or Narcos.
Yeah, for definite. But however, we can't really count out Cashcat yet, because Cashcat feels also had a pretty good season under Daddy Daycare.
She definitely has. When she was picked up, there was a bit of just a lot surrounding her. But she stepped up her game, and she went from an ADC, like a sub, to a mainstay roster member, and she can hold her own in quite a few things. And we can't forget about, how these two teams changed at all. These two teams went through massive changes.
Yeah. I'm fairly sure Daddy Daycare had an entirely new roster from the beginning of the season, minus Bearded.
That is correct. They did go up a complete roster change. And Nachos, again, like I said, they had some others. I mean, Zelda, he was originally in the ADC lane. Alex, who's now on the AFK Farmers, was originally on Nachos, while Narcos and Cat were still on there. But let's talk about some bans. We do see this Morgan and Scylla being banned. So Scylla being banned out from Zelda, not too big of a surprise, but Nachos, they're banning Guardians. Ardio is a given. She's one of the best solo laners right now. I think the best magical solo laner, and Geb is not a character you want to give to any, mediocre support.
Yeah. Being the top of his role at the minute, I know personally from playing scrims and other things like that, Geb's a very, very strong pick at the minute. The cleanse on the shield is very, very strong. The Cataclysm's good setup. He's really safe with the rollout. He's just all around a very, very strong support at the minute. And preventing that setup and that ability to just create confusion in a fight is a very good way to start this.
Yeah, it really is. Not just banning out Susano from Waddle, and Daycare responding with their pick in Soul. We've seen a lot of Soul recent. That's when Sunafall was good, of course. You saw him and Olera, well, her and Oleron, and then Sunafall got nerfed and she fell off. Now we've been seeing a rise of them back into the mid ADC with this full lifesteal
None will
build.
flee my
And
grasp.
Nachos respond with 2 picks that I love: Achilles and Persephone. Achilles, in my opinion, the second best solo laner right now, physical solo laner only behind Mulan, and Persephone, always a good pick if you can use her.
Yeah. Definitely more skill dependent than, say, well, I say skill dependent. It's more based on how much your knowledge of the god works.
Yeah.
Because Persephone is a god that requires a little bit more time putting into them because of the way her plants work, rather than a Scylla, for instance, where it's, I throw the big circle at you, you're now dead.
Yeah, and this is Neath is a pick that we've seen a lot, specifically from Kashakat. When I played them, and it is one of their favorite picks, and they're pretty good on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give it to them. They're good, and with Neath, getting these indirect buffs with maces still just being the best items in the game, it's gonna work. And a Fafnir pick. Why is this picked here? Just tell me a bit about that.
The Fafnir is being picked here because they're running a double ADC comp, and to be honest, that's the only reason I'd see it making sense to me. The shred that the Coerce provides, that means the objectives are going to fall down that much quicker on top of already having the Soul and the Neath. So we're going to be seeing a very, very heavily objective-focused comp from Daddy Daycare here.
Yes, we will. And speaking of objective heavy, we have Ganesh. He's great about fighting around objectives with his good old pillars, doing so much damage and shredding your protections. He's overall a really good god, and a god that I know Cat performs on. It's one of Cat's favorite gods. So these teams aren't exactly looking towards the meta. They're looking towards what are we comfortable on and what works around it. Ganesh works really well with Persephone and her root. Achilles works really well with Ganesha and Persephone because both those gods are really good at getting people low.
Yep. Is there any picks that you'd like to see banned away from either team right now?
I'd love to see a solo focus from Nachos Supremos. Raid Boss is a good solo laner, and you can't just give him whatever he wants. This Mulan is still open, mind you. So making it to the second ban phase is quite surprising. And I was going to mention the Izanami. End of days, when I have played against him, he does have an Izanami. It is one of his better picks, and something he plays a tiny bit. Obviously not when I think of days, it's not among the top, but it is that Don Zaboro, Daddy Daycare, showing that they don't know what Narcos is gonna play, and they don't care. They banned out 0 junglers. Narcos, he's known for his Gilgamesh. He's known for so much that it's so surprising that he wasn't banned out, as while Nachos directed ban at every single role except mid and ADC, which Daddy Daycare did do a lot of.
Yeah. We do see a Nike ban coming out as well, so the Mulan being on the table, we could be seeing a priority pickup here off that. And maybe the flex of the Achilles into the jungle.
That definitely could be a good pick. I mean, that totally glossed over my mind when I was thinking Achilles. But that does work. Achilles jungle, not one of his better roles, but it is a role he works really well in. And with this Mulan being...
waits.
All right, that's a Thanatos. Fun fact, Thanatos is not Mulan.
Interesting.
Thanatos. Yeah, I know. Crazy fun fact. But... Took me off guard too when I first found it out, but Thanatos is definitely a great pick here. Has some troubles into Soul with a well-timed Disapparate, but he's relatively just fine. He does really well underneath with her sort of one-toned movement ability. As Soul, she also doesn't have an immediate immunity. She has to wait with the Disapparate. So Thanatos looks really good here, but he's looking to snowball early, and that goes really well into a Neath, but not so much Soul.
Yeah, because that's where the pressure's going to be in the mid lane for Daddy Daycare so far. And we're seeing a Tsukuyomi being locked in as well. So choosing to go for this really, really heavy best comp is
Yeah.
quite interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, but this is Daddy Daycare's style of play. I mean, when it was the Daddy Daycare original squad, this is what they played. I mean, excluding the Neath, it'd be swapped out for some other pick, but this is what was played by them. I mean, this was their style. It was they always had a Tsukiyomi. They were forcing you to ban the Tsukiyomi, and that's a Sobek, a safer pick in the solo lane, but certainly an interesting one.
Yeah.
Why is it good?
I like the Sobek pick here because they're choosing to have more peel from their solo lane with the displacement that Sobek provides with the pluck. So they're going to have another Guardian on their team to try and dissuade this dive coming from the Achilles, the Thanatos, and the Persephone. And they're also going to have an engagement tool, which this squad is lacking. Because realistically, before this, you'd only be able to really engage with a Wild Weaver Piercing Moonlight combo, or maybe a Rogue Fafnir Hammer. So having that Sobek pick there, I like this a lot. It's a very, very strong draft so far.
Yeah, great draft. And Nachos, they pick up on her. That's not a god we've seen all too much of. Really, there's only been one player who's, I think, played it consistently in the SDL, and that is Blizzado. Blizzado has one of the greatest on-hers, if not the best on-her in the SDL. It's just End of Days is not Blizzado, much like how Thanatos isn't Mulan. So, I'm interested to see how he performs on it. I believe End of Days can do great on it. End of Days is a solid player that can do well on any pick if he pops off. And that's any player. And well, End of Days, he pops off quite a lot.
Yeah. Should be interesting going into the first game of this best of 5. If I was to ask you now, which team would you bet on to take away game 1? Who would it be?
Okay, I love this question, and one of my favorite questions. But I'm going purely off of drafts. No biases here. I think Nachos take it. They have great early pressure within this Thanatos and Achilles. They have great late game scaling within this Persephone and Ganesha. Honor is able to bridge that mid game. They have great objective play with Persephone's lockdown, Ganesha's lockdown, Achilles' chase, and Thanatos finishing off so many targets. Also, 2 executes. I mean, it's going to feel really, really nice. Of course, Daddy Daycare is not without their merits. They have not so great engage, but if they engage on you, you are dead. There's no doubt about it. They have great CC chain. Neath hits her arrow, roots you. Fafnir, he stuns you. Tsukiyomi, he stuns you again. What are you going to do after that? Sobek, he's going to have everything up, and well, hopefully we'll see this in game as we cut to game number 1, Daddy Daycare versus Nachos Supremos. Well, that's
Well, going into this, we're going to see the Fafnir opting for the Sentinel's gift over the Benevolence, which we have seen more prevalence in the SPL and most of comp. Perhaps feeling more comfortable with the Sentinels, being more believing he's going to have to sit back a bit further. And we do also see this Neath with a mannequin set to start. Maybe looking at the mannequin's hidden blade to have this Wild Weaver be able to absolutely decimate health bars going into this late game.
yeah, that has always been Cash play style. She isn't afraid of that type of play, so I'm not surprised personally. I do like it. Transcendence does scale really, really well with Neath and, well, just how Neath plays. But I am worried about the early game build. Usually you're going Jotuns to sort of bridge over that Jotun. Well, not bridge over the Jotuns, but bridge over that early game. End of Days, of course, opting for the traditional build. He's going aggressive, so he's going to want to go into that Crusher Aussie build. It's definitely going to be harder for Cash to box, but a great stun causes everything to go quietly.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we're not seeing too much else, and nothing else too special out of anyone else. I mean, there was just those 2 things in the duo lane. Everyone else, they have quite average builds. I mean, Raid Boss unable to pick up Blackthorn, so he's not going to pick it up while a Y guy does have it. It's, again, nothing special. So, how's it going? How's it going? Just,
Yeah. I mean, the Ganesh has opted for this bracer.
no, Cat did opt for that bracer. I completely missed that. So, Ian, tell me why they would pick up bracer.
Well, it means that they're going to be wanting one of two things. They're either going to want this added help in the lane to try and outpoke or outfarm the enemy duo lane, which so far they aren't doing, or they want this bracer to act as a sort of buffer for any sort of drop they're going to have towards this early game, knowing that they won't have farm for when they stand around objectives. Because that's where the little bit of benefit from the bracer does come in. When you have that buff on you, you are going to be hitting that little bit harder, and that little bit harder means all the more early game.
Yeah, it really does. It does go well into on her, so it is a good pickup. But unfortunately, with Daddy Daycare just getting this, well, nice gank on Persephone able to get out of the way. So I'll go back to what happened in the duo lane. Daddy Daycare went for farm. They did get it successfully, but it was not without its cost, and Daze and Cat caught them out really, really well. And ended up taking Kasha Cat's beads and Gabs's meditation cloak.
Yeah. So there's a big relics already down. I'm expecting to see a rotation from the jungler soon enough to try and capitalise on the fact that they are down.
Yeah. Especially a Thanatos, as soon as he hits level 5. I mean, one of the reasons why you pick up Meditation Cloak is to mitigate this Thanatos. Well, that's gone. So this Thanatos is going to feel real well going into this duo lane currently. But he does only have just about a minute left on the meditation and 75 seconds on the beads. So he's going to need to act fast or he's going to lose his chance.
Yeah, definitely. However, the Thanatos should be hitting 5 any second now going on to his rotation. So we are possibly going to see this rotation in about 30 seconds before the beats come up. And at that point, I feel like they should know it would be coming. If he opts to go. We should be seeing some wards come out soon enough, and as you know, wards win games, especially when Thanatos is going to be looking for you in the tail again.
That explains why I've lost all my games. I just awarding. You see that's for people who need vision. I play with a blindfold on. Let me tell you, I do not need to see my enemy. My enemy needs to see me when I come out there. Life steal. You see, because I have the best build ever, right? So this build absolutely trash. Never go it. But if you want to have some fun, just become a physical character and build every single life steal item you see.
Same.
It's hilarious. You're overcapping 100%, but
only works if you land auto attacks though, so you might
that's
have to...
also why I can't go that help. Yeah, I'm not fit for being an ADC, but apparently I'm a good ADC according to my team. They tell me, Panda, you're pretty good at this game, and I look at them and I say, I can't hit a single auto. But you're expecting me to be a good ADC, but I have not hit a single auto in 13 years. So, yeah, I don't know what they want from me, but Zelda is going for an item that we don't see often. Charon's Coin is definitely an item, but Raid Boss is looking to gank as double execute, but they both miss, and Piercing Moonlight comes through. Waddle XP able to get Raid Boss out on to Daddy Daycare's jungler. Cancel that. The Gabs is here. Oh, he gets the stun on Y Guy Trash. Y Guy able to escape. And wow, that just I was really excited for first blood. I was gonna like sort of like mini jump out of my chair and be like, first blood, yeah, woohoo, and then just both these teams said, yeah, we're too good for that, and now my day is ruined and my disappointment is immeasurable.
No, you don't see the skill. They're playing for the pacifist route.
Oh, so true. They're just becoming they're becoming Thanatos. First blood. Speaking of Thanatos, blinking on Waddle XP in those pillars. And that's first blood. As I thought everything was done, it's just kind of Ganesha says, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna be a Ganesh," and well, Cat does a good job of that.
That was a very, very prolonged engagement coming into the solo level. Lots of ultimates used. The Sobek almost falling down at the start of the fight. Like, if the Achilles' fatal strike was on the map.
That's yeah. I believe what happened was Kasha Cat used jump. End of Days chased, knowing Kasha Cat was low and having the Crusher hit every single one of his ultimate ticks. And kind of just on her diff. Like, yeah, that's just he played on her, and that's really unfortunate for Kasha Cat. But just great play from End of Days. This was all knowledge on End of Days. Not a fault to Kasha Cat. Kasha Cat, she played that as well as she could, but just sadly, End of Days had the better character.
Yeah. And we do see the Gold Scorpion dropping now, and that means an objective is on the map at 7 minutes 30 seconds. So we could potentially be looking at some objective players coming out. Daddy Daycare are behind, but they do have this objective shred comp, and I believe that they could still pull this and then potentially get a free run away with it, as long as they've got the ward vision that allows them to do it, because of how quick their burn is. It's going to depend whether or not Nachos Supremos are going to be on it. They need to be paying attention at all times to see the positioning.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, if I'm not just a Prima, seeing these two teams, I mean, Fire Giant Scorpion just went down, but seeing Daddy Daycare, I am putting wars on every single available objective, and I am trying my hardest to get every single Scorpion, or at least the Gold Fury Scorpion, so I know when it's up, and I get control of Oracle as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Although there is a fight that was going to breaking up due to just, Narcos not wanting to fight. He kind of said no, although Kasha Cat dies to End of Days once again. It seems as if he used his ultimate once again. Most likely the same thing happened.
Yeah, it's going to feel really, really rough for Kasha Cat. You're against Amher, but you're letting get a little bit of a lead early again. And Amher being one of the most prolific lane bullies out of all of the ADCs, he's going to hit you hard if you're going to stand there and take all 8 ticks of the ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a point where you just think, it could be matchup diff, right? It's Kasha Cat using backflip every single time, but that's not going to matter when Honor has jump. So you have to bait out jump. Well, how are you going to bait out jump as a Neath? You're going to root them. Well, after you bait out his jump, what is he going to do?
You're going to have to backflip and then hope that he can't hit the ultimate.
You're just going to have to hope. And you also have to pray to God he didn't place down a good pillar and just impale you. I mean, there's just so much within this matchup that's just beautiful drafting by Nachos, honestly.
Yeah. It shows that they're picking they're picking the counters to each individual character rather than focusing on one specific type of comp. Because their comp is more orientated towards a dive, with this Ganesh and the Amher being the steady backline. However, we look at the other comp and that was quite clearly an objective comp. But they're just picking the gods that are going to be able to just shut them down the hardest. So they've got a really, really clean and quick engage, followed by high burst damage from a Persephone and an Amher. And that's what they're going to try and exploit.
Yeah, they've done it well so far. I mean, we have not seen that engage, but we have seen that high pressure. End of Days now picking up the Aussie, so that's going to feel real nice, especially hitting that pseudo power spike right before Wind Demon. Of course, Wind Demon did receive its nerfs. Still a great item, as we see a bit of a scuffle in solo lane. Solo lane being solo lane. Mystica Mail was opted for raid boss after its nerfs. How do you feel about that item?
Mystica Mail, you've got to remember, it's one of those...
Hold that thought. That was just Bearded being deleted. Like, that was everything. Thanatos drops on him. Cat says, we engaging? Alright. He just puts down the pillars, and Zelda says, oh, I guess I'm throwing my ultimate now. Chucks that right at Bearded. Bearded had no chance of escaping. He does expend those beads, and Cash Cat does survive the dive of End of Days.
Yeah. So, going back to the original, never mind.
Yeah, Waddle just kind of gets out Y Guy, but Gold Fury picked up.
The Fafnir is being spotted out, however.
Yeah, I think this Fafnir has no chance of doing it. Yeah, alright. But yeah, Gold Fury obtained by Nachos. That, good map play on them. Alright, continue.
Yeah. We do see a trade for the solo laner, but you're going to be wanting to take a Gold Fury for your solo laner every single day of the week. At this point in the game.
I think at any point in the game, like you're gaining gold and XP off of that.
The only argument that can be relatively made is if it's 40 minutes in, you don't want to lose anyone ever.
You are right. Yeah, 40. But a 40-minute Gold Fury is an interesting thing.
Yeah, if you're fighting around the Gold Fury 40 minutes, you've got to be questioning a couple of other things fast.
Yeah, that the game has gone way too long, and I don't think any of you have any items. Speaking of items, I'm gonna really badly segue into this event. They did just get Draugr, the most important objective in the game, besides Fire Giant, and right behind Gold Fury.
And
Oh, I forgot. It's also behind Totem. Totem is the most important.
Totem Diff wins games.
Totem Diff wins games. Little not so true Panda fact for you. Every single team that got the last totem of the game has won the game, ever in Smite history.
I see.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Don't fact check that, but
I won't.
it's completely true.
We'll treat it as face value and we'll believe it.
Alright, Cat is engaged, dumping a follow-up from team. Alright, now you can talk about the boring items, I guess. God.
Right. So we are going to see a Witchblade being picked up by the Soba on top of this Mystical Mail. And to explain why the Mystical Mail is so heavily picked up in the solo lane, is because you've got to remember, a Sobek doesn't have that good of a clear. He's got really, really strong box potential, but he doesn't clear the wave, and that Mystic Mail just provides so much to him.
I was so scared to cut you off. Okay, he does this to block. And he looks like he's gonna go try and proxy wave or something, get some poke on Y Guy. Trash. Oh, he goes back under. There is the one, the only, the Gabs. Of course, the minded Gab's not able to pick it up, but he's followed by the Pluck, and Waddle might just be finished off by Mystical. Come on, please. Oh, he blinks out of there. Don't tell me Y Guy escapes. No, Y Guy is picked up, but that is not without its losses. Bearded being pressured in mid lane, but a great disapparate gets everyone off of him. That's gonna be a 1-for-0 trade favoring Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, we do see the Wild Weaver being blocked by someone in mid lane there, rather than anyone else. The Wild Weaver was cast onto Y Guy in solo, but someone ate it in the mid lane.
And that just like had you. If I am whoever ate that, if I am them, I am literally telling Y Guy, you owe my life to me now. Like your life, it's mine now. Your soul, also mine. Everything you own, mine. I saved your life. And then they getting extremely sad right after they die because I tried so hard. But yeah, that was a fight. 2 fights, 1 story, and that was Y Guy almost escaped.
I feel like this is important to note. The Anhead does have this really, really big 3-level lead currently. However, as I'm saying this.
Yeah, speaking of leads, we're seeing it shown off. End of Days is soloing out Cash Cow once again. I mean, he expended quite a lot, but he did force the beads and Aegis from Cash Cow, so doesn't feel all too bad.
Yeah. We are seeing a 2-level lead from the jungler of Daddy Daycare and a level lead in the mid lane as well. So that is their entry point back into this game. However, we are looking at an objective being started up right now.
Yeah, but end of days isn't there, so whatever lead they did have, it's not going to matter. By Nachos able to pick up the kill. Thanatos going up in air. Mind of Gads transforming. Raid boss just trying to disperse these people, get him off of Bearded. Bearded is being chased out by a Thanatos, but the Thanatos just kind of disagrees as Bearded does pick up the kill on Narcos. A great pillars onto the Mind of Gads, although not much happens. A good cohort. Cat looking low, piercing Moonlight, and not Raid Boss, but White Guy Trash having to chase in a great luck, forcing out White Guy ultimate, and looks like Waddle was going for the stun, able to miss that stun. Nothing comes at it. Nachos Supremos calling for a well-earned Fire Giant. It is 3 members and only 1 ultimate from Nachos, while of course Daycare have 0 Frenzy Pop, and Nachos Supremos are none the wiser.
I hate to disagree with you, but I think they know this is going on, and they're making the safe call to drop the Primal Fury, which I like this call. You see that you've lost the fight already. You know that you've lost it, and you know if you're going in, you're likely going to die. Best case scenario, you steal the Fire Giant and get a hit. So going for the Primal and not losing any more lives and just subsidizing some of that loss is a really good call from Nachos Supremos.
Yeah, but it makes you like for better casting advice that they're not wiser. Like it's a lot more exciting.
It's exciting.
Like, I'm not a nerd like you. All right.
Exciting isn't always true.
Look, just because everyone wants to be a nerd over. God.
This bubble is going to hurt.
Oh. That was that great. You're clearing that purple up, Bearded, aren't you? You know, good call by him. I like that call. You want to know why? Because I like seeing mid laners clear purple. As an ADC, it makes me angry whenever I'm playing, but I find it incredibly funny whenever it happens to anyone else.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just my pure hatred for every single other ADC ever, because at some point they've hit me with an auto, and naturally, as all ADC mains are, we hold extreme grudges for extreme amounts of times. Did you know that once Kashakat hit me with an auto in a scrim?
I didn't.
Now you know, and that is all right. Well, there's an interesting pickup, Mr. Big Ian. Celestial Legion Health. So,
this is, well, to copy your web, that is a very interesting pickup. That is not something we see that is run of the mill. Realistically, into the comp that it's against, I don't mind the pickup, but I feel like there could have been a better item slot there. So maybe a Breastplate of Valor, Bridgewind, or even Spectral Armor.
yeah, I do agree. There definitely is a better pickup. Frenzy is popped, though, as so is the ultimate of Mind of Gabs. Raid Boss does pick up Narcos, does pick up Waddle, catch a cat, pick a kill on Cat 2000, and there's going to be a disengage from Nachos Supremos as they don't want to fight someone with fire. Although Execute is available on Raid Boss, White Guy able to get it, but the end of days is falling, and it's not going to matter much. Bearded is low, still able to pick up the kill on Bearded. It's just Catch a Cat and Mind of Gabs, but that is not going to matter. Mind of Gabs able to pick up the double, Zelda forced to disengage. Catch a Cat almost picking up the re-engage, but it is unsuccessful.
Yep. And this is where this comp shines. They like to be able to just bend people down before they even have a chance to step in. So you just see the Thanatos get instantly blown up as soon as she shows his face. The Thanatos goes in, claims one pick, sure, and then dies for it. Because he's stuck in between a soul and a knife. Realistically, you're not getting out of that. No matter how good you are. If you're stuck in between 2 ADCs, you're going to get your health banned.
Yeah, you are. That is a complete and utter fact. I mean, they do so much damage, especially with Fire Giant. I mean, you aren't going to be able to touch them.
Yeah, you've just got to. If I'm Narcos, I'm trying to take my engagements a little bit cleaner, preferably when the team isn't stacked as heavily as they are. Maybe he just saw the go button and was like, I'm going to be able to get the pick here, we'll win the fight off of it. But if he looks past it, he recognised that he's going to die for it and his team is guaranteed to win because that's a 4v5 or 4v4 straight after.
Yeah, speaking of Narcos, he does use his ultimate to get out of there, and it really changes fights. I mean, the stun from Thanatos feels oh so nice, and well, without it, Thanatos in these late game fights almost becomes useless. He's unable to really confirm all too much unless he hits a stray scythe or, gets in there really deep with his blink, but that requires you going through the front line and the front line not locking you down.
Yeah. And what is their front line? Their front line is a Sobek and a Fafnir who are adept at locking people down.
Yeah, you're going to get locked down. That is the whole truth about it. And speaking of getting locked down, Raid Boss might just be getting locked down. He's in between quite a few people, Cat, Y-Guy, and Narcos. But, well, he's a Sobek and the tankiest man on Earth. He's not being affected by it too heavily. Looks like they are setting up for a beta around this Fire Giant.
Yeah, these are the objective fights that I like to see, though. Because now they're on pretty much even terms. A 2k gold lead at 23 minutes into the game doesn't mean a whole lot. Realistically, the entire lead for Nachos Supremos is on this Anha. And are they going to be able to do anything with it is the point. Because at this point in the game, the jungler and the ADC are going to be diving you. Look at that.
Yeah. Beautiful pluck as the execute does come out from the Thanatos. Cat is killed. So is Narcos. Y-Guy able to get an execute on but nothing else. He does use that second ultimate that he does get, but it is gone. End of days looking for something. He does kill out Bearded, but Zelda also falls. It is end of days versus the world, and it's not but he does.
This was an incredible team fight from Daddy Daycare. The engage from the Sobek pulls End of Days straight into the team, having to use both relics instantly. A good ultimate from the Persephone doesn't save the team there. The Persephone chains onto 4 people, but instantly the team fight just dissolves. The Sobek getting executed feels bad, sure, but you've still got 4 people strong, and they're running at you with low health bars. You're going to win these engagements, and Daddy Daycare played this fight incredibly well.
Yeah, as they also go for a Phoenix push. They do have minion wave, although Cat doing a considerable amount of damage. Speaking of considerable amount of damage, Waddle XP does get a good amount of damage, and this Thanatos is drawing near and dear. The Aegis is successful. Narcos does pick up the kill, though, off of Cat's great killers.
Yeah, I don't know how confident I am about that Phoenix call. I would have much rather seen a Fire Giant call straight away. You've got a deer side. Realistically, you can get the Phoenix after you take a Fire Giant away. Because now all of Nachos Supremos can just walk over to it, and you've now got to fight a 3v5 around a Fire Giant, which you could bless.
They aren't even going to fight that 3v5. It is just Raid Boss zoning people off of it, and he's doing it quite successfully. I mean, no one's looking at him. He's able to dash out of there, escape with his life. And Y-Guy zoning him in that fire pit. He's taking unnecessary damage, although it seems it's just gaps, so it's not going to matter all too much. I don't think he's going to be able to steal it. Nachos does destroy the Fire Giant as they look to disengage. Raid Boss still chasing. Y-Guy, though, he is in a dangerous place as Daddy Daycare picks up the Gold Fury. Well, specifically the only one.
Yeah. That was a very, very rough call, I feel. That Sobek should have probably just died when he entered that pit right there. You leave a Sobek uncontested in a Fire Giant pit, he just causes a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, he really does come out, he just, with a lot of mayhem. He just does a lot. I mean, it's a Sobek. He's able to tank for days on end, and well, he's able to deal out a good amount of damage, so I feel like if Raid Boss isn't going to get targeted there, he can stay in there, although not able to steal that Fire Giant away is unfortunate.
Yeah. Nachos Supremos have got the Fire Giant. Are they going to be able to convert this into more of a lead, though? Because there are still towers available. No, only Fury now. They can sweep these objectives and potentially look at a Phoenix, or even an end push if they win this big team fight.
Yeah, if I am Daddy Daycare, I do not take a fight on a tier 1 if any of them are still up. I don't think so. I don't necessarily want to take a fight on a tier 2, but if it's pressed, you will. You want to defend these Phoenixes. These Phoenixes is what you can defend because of just how much damage they can end up doing, and well, you're putting them inside your base. You also have 2 ADCs. I mean, anyone that's put inside your base is going to be shredded. And that's not an understatement. I mean, you have a Soul and a Neath. No one should be getting it.
Exactly. When you're walking forwards, your tanks aren't going to be able to soak up all of the hits from a Soul and a Neath. It's going to be very, very hard to try and spread out their DPS. And if they're concentrating targets like they have been off of these Sobek plucks, then one of your front lines is going to die early if you don't end the fight quickly.
Yeah, and then you get the follow-up from Waddle. Waddle able to go ahead and, just do Tsukiyomi things after that. After one frontliner is dead, well, then you have to put another frontliner into defending the backline that now just got Piercing Moonlighted. After that, it's a free engage from the Daddy Daycare in their base, and that's not something you see often.
No, exactly. So, looking into this, Nachos Supremos definitely have the edge going into these latter stage team fights. However, it's still all to play for. Only a 2k gold deficit for Daycare. So, it's going to be a good game to watch out.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, we're not seeing much. Nothing's all too out of the ordinary. Although what is Enda is opting to pick up the Honed Edge. That's obviously going to go into a Fail Knot, which is interesting.
Quite an interesting item to be building on an Anher. Usually we're seeing ADCs opt for the Deathbringer right now in that position. Having this Fail Knot is interesting, and maybe it's a build he's been testing out in scrims before and he's like, I like this. Honestly, it's more about feel and comfort. If you feel like you're getting more value from a Fail Knot, then build it, by all means. Every person has a different build that they like, and this is just the one he likes.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a bad one. As Daddy Daycare does set up for this Phoenix defense, double ADC pushing down the left lane, forcing Narcos to back, and that just leaves Raid Boss to defend along with Waddle and his team. Raid Boss is looking low. That Phoenix is successfully taken from by Nachos Supremos from Daddy Daycare as they push down they just push down. I mean, they can get this Titan if they're not careful. And, well, it seems as if they're not being careful. They let this Neath back for free, so that's going to end all end pushes. And Narcos is now having to fight Bearded, but that isn't going to matter. Bearded falls to Narcos, and this sets up Nachos Supremos in the best of positions, and Days using his ultimate to disengage, but Daddy Daycare looks to engage off of that Raid Boss, staying in this fight, but he can't. He's a solo laner. Cash Cat is taking a lot of damage, but it looks as if we're not going to see much off of it. Cash Cat able to retreat successfully, and this middle Phoenix is good as gone. That's, this fight still continues. I was expecting them to disengage, but Waddle is low. And it looks like they're looking for the end. But Cat is low. He's going to die to this Titan. He isn't careful, and he does. Guy is able to pick up Waddle XP, but Cat is dead. And that's likely going to end all end pushes. I mean, you do have these fire waves up in left lane, although not pushed up at all. it's still something to be wary of, especially with a 4v4 in the Titan room with Daddy Daycare.
Yeah. This fight was really, really interesting from start to finish. We start off with a push onto right Phoenix. The Sobek being a little out of position with the pluck, managing to escape with his life, but then we look into top side of the duo lane, and we see the Sol underneath on the left Phoenix. They do manage to get it, and the left Phoenix is viewed as the most important Phoenix when going for Fire Giants. Because of how far away it is from the Fire Giant, meaning whoever's having to clear those Fire Minion waves isn't going to be at the fight. And we see the Phoenix drop, and then we see Nachos getting a solo kill onto Bearded, which is huge, and manages to stop whatever they're trying to do any further in left. But then we see Cash backing and managing to hold the base with the rest of Daddy Daycare. So, although losing 2 Phoenixes, not losing the game and getting a Phoenix is still quite good considering how far they were behind against the team with Fire Giant.
Yeah, and I think it's almost an unspoken rule. Well, not an unspoken rule, but I think it's almost like an unspoken fact. If Kashakat isn't able to back there, Nachos ends. And it's just, and Narcos getting tunnel vision on Bearded, or I don't know, I'm not sure, but Bearded does fall, but Kashakat backs, and that's what changes the game. This is what allows for this very aggressive positioning along the Fire Giant. I mean, Waddle is in mid lane, but a fight does break out onto Y-Guy, and a Daze is low, getting his health chunked quite a bit, as there is an engage. Raid boss not anymore, but he was under that Thanatos threshold, as we see Narcos not opting to engage on anyone. Y-Guy looking for something off of an out of position Tsukuyomi. They're gonna end it off, but speaking of out of position, Zelda picks up an out of position Kashakat. Kashakat falls, unable to make a difference in this fight. It is just the jungler, soul laner, and mid laner. Waddle is low, execute unsuccessful. Y-Guy still able to pick up the kill. Is free. Bearded raid boss Gabs against a full Nachos Supremos. That right Phoenix has respawned, but that might just not matter, as Nachos Supremos goes to push down that middle lane and possibly take the Phoenix.
Yeah, looking at this fight though, all of Nachos Supremos are 5 men strong, walking it down. Titan's already going low. This should...
Yeah, they need to be careful. Raid boss picks up the kill on Cat, and that Titan isn't burning fast enough. Mind if Gabs is executed, that's going to be game 1. A great game, a great showing. Daddy Daycare and Nachos Supremos. Although Nachos seemed like the better team in that fight.
Yeah, and what we can say is, although they were better in that fight, it wasn't smooth sailing. Both teams have shown up today clearly wanting to win. Both teams are ready, polishing all of their stuff, and they're showing that they've got the drive and the ability to win this set.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Late game, we saw that Neath show up. I mean, if Neath was just changed positioning just a tiny bit, I don't know if she was actually out of position, but it just seemed like Zelda had the better positioning. It was unfortunate for Kashakat. Kashakat does fall in that fight, and that's what starts it all off. I mean, Zelda getting a good pick, and then they're able to snowball that fight and get to that end. But it was not without its bumps. I mean, we did see a lot of bad stuff in that fight. Narcos just losing out on his ultimate. We saw Y-Guy missing his ultimate. There was so much that could have went wrong that just everything fell in place that it just didn't.
Yeah. Honestly, the change I'd like to see is just a comp that's going to be more ready to fight and bring the fight to Nachos Supremos.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think, if possible, you keep that Tsukuyomi pick. You roll with double ADC, but you get Kashakat on something just a bit more safe. I'm thinking a Hachimon, anything like that. Not as easily followed by an Honor. It just...
Yeah.
End of Days sort of carried this game, at least in that middle phase. We saw him just let Kashakat not do anything, and it showed. But as soon as we got into these late game team fights, Ender Days fell off. I mean, I liked him on this Honor, but he just needs more late game pressure.
Yeah. It's hard to take the pressure in these late game fights when you can't really be in position for the full dive. And that's where the comp breaks apart. Because Anher's not a dive character. He likes to sit at range and make sure you're punished for walking up to him.
Yeah, he really is a great anti-dive character. Although, it's a set. Right now, I mean, I think this game decided if it was set or not, and we're gonna see at least. It's a safe bet. We're gonna see 4, hoping for 5, but we'll see game number 2 after this short intermission.
Came from a broken home. I've seen so many people go. Learn to make it on my own. It's easier for me to be alone. So how are you? Keep cutting through. Claiming you're not like the other guys. And only if I could give you a chance. Show me that you mean it. Won't feel some type of way.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Reaps, my league. We are seeing SDL Semifinals, a great set that I am so excited for. Game number 2, it's Daddy Daycare versus Nachos Supremos. It is still the one, the only, the Panda Bear Ash, and my favorite caster on Earth, the Big E.
Nice to be here after that very, very exciting battle that was the game 1. No team had a very, very clear, defined advantage for that entire game. It should be exciting going into seeing Daddy Daycare's adjustments.
Yeah, I believe we are heading to picks and bans. Looks like, yeah, Daddy Daycare is resuming that first pick position as Nachos does go up 0-1. Yeah, that is right. I had to do the little fun thing. Not okay. Damn it, production. Okay, yeah, you're right. Nachos up 1-0. Yeah, okay. Technically, but I wanted to fit with the God. Just kidding. I love Vile. He is my favorite. Vile, please do not kick me off the cast. This is all right. Production jokes aside, of course, these are just bans we saw after the game number 1. I mean,
standard bands, no blame in them.
Yeah.
These are good bands, especially into the meta at the minute. We are seeing the Achilles being taken away from Nachos Supremos this game, though.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, Y Guy, he did way too much on that Achilles. I think it's a warranted ban, and Nachos didn't see anything wrong with that team comp. Waddle does get his Susano taken away.
Yep. Again, they really, really do not want Waddle to be playing this Susano, having almost a prolific reputation with it in the SDL.
Yeah, I feel like out of the current starting junglers right now, he has the best Susano, and I will stand by that. It's just great Susano, also because I don't know anyone else in the SDL who plays Susano. But you know, we honestly love Waddle for playing Susano. He's one of my favorite gods. I just love seeing him played. Sad he got banned here. I find him so sick. What do you think Daddy Daycare's first pick is going to be?
Daddy Daycare could opt for this Scylla to just prevent Zelda getting it at all. They haven't banned this game, however, it's looking like it's going to be a Gilgamesh. As you previously mentioned, Waddle is known for this pick.
Yeah.
So this is going to be interesting going into game 2.
Yeah, Waddle is known for the pick, but arguably someone who is synonymous with this pick, at least in the SDL, is Narcos. So this acts as a great Waddle pick and a pick that is just a pseudo ban. You know, you're taking it away from Narcos, and it shows. I mean, every game that Narcos, at least every game that Narcos has played Gilgamesh, he's made that impact.
You're a hit. What you aim at?
It's a Chiron pick. I'm gonna hold that thought as Nike and Ganesh were in for Nachos Supremos. Nike got banned out last game. Ganesh was featured in last game. Cat did great on it. But let's talk about this Chiron pick and this Hera pick. Okay. Well, what do you think about those two picks?
The Chiron pick I really like. The cleanse Chiron's really strong at the minute. Definitely not in the bottom end of ADCs. The Hera pick is not something we see every day, though. Hera pick is quite interesting, especially into a Ganesha that you already see has been locked in. Probably a comfort for Bearded, because this Ganesh with the Dynamic Pillars and the Nike with the Sentinel of Zeus are going to be able to really easily lock down this Hera. So it's going to be pivotal whether or not Bearded is going to have this good positioning on the Hera.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be pivotal, but not Supremos banning out that Tsukuyomi. Interesting. It could be that they're just thinking this Gilgamesh is going over to solo lane, and it is a likely story. He is a warrior, and he is built for dual lane. Well, not dual lane, solo lane. But that's an Amuzen Cup that we just saw locked in after his recent buffs. He is pretty good, but
it's also into a Gilgamesh. Those wins are going to, tear you apart.
Yeah, it's also into a Chiron.
Two gods that are very, very good at punishing the B.
Yeah, personally, I think, one, you, as I'm losing cap, you have 0 chase, which is a problem if you're a Chiron. Well, not a problem if you're a Chiron, a problem if you're facing a Chiron. Because Chiron, he just 180s and just dashes out of there. He giddy ups, and what are you going to do? Are you going to chase after him? He's faster. You're not going to close any distance with someone who is great at closing distance. Being hovered, Camazot's, once it's locked in, we'll talk about it. But we are seeing just exclusive target bans phase 2. Just target bans. I mean, Narcos unable to play this. Not Susano unable to play this. That one got Thanatos. Unable to play this. Thanatos and Tsukiyomi and God, I'm messing up names. Not Susano. Alligator Man is banned out from Nachos Supremos.
Yeah, Raid Boss really had a showing on that server last game. He was part of the reason why Daddy Daycare were winning the fights that they did win.
Yes,
The plucks from him were really good. He was always able to displace and then drop back to help peel. He had a very big presence in the team fights and was just causing an issue. And this game, he's going to be on the Gilgamesh, who can arguably do the same thing, only he's got better lockdown than a Sobek.
Yeah, they were correct in guessing that was a solo Gilgamesh. I did not think it was. But solo Gilgamesh is picked up, and that's a Fenrir for Waddle. Fenrir, great at just, Ragnaroking people. He's burning your beats. You wanna know who else is burning your beats? Gilgamesh, Sylvanas, Chiron, not so much. Hera, not so much, but you already have 2 other beads burners. So, as a Gilgamesh, I'm not so afraid. I'm able to lock down so many people with that Winds of Samesh. Able to hit people with that drop kick, not worry. But a definite interesting pick. That is a new wall locked in.
Yeah.
What are the merits of this pick, especially alongside this comp of Nachos Supremos?
The main benefit is going to be the fire shot. So, granted, it's the hardest skill shot in the game, but it does provide you that CC immunity. So, and that's going to be it's going to be very, very good, especially into a Winds of Shamash on top of you, because you're going to be able to get out of the ultimate essentially for free. The Ragnarok is going to be a little bit more of an issue. However, you can just ult away as soon as you see the Fenrir, or as soon as you see the ultimate being popped, because that's still a viable option. The Wrath of Terror, a little bit harder to do it to, but if the timing's right, you're still able to. But the newer pick is a little bit safer than, for example, a Hera would be into that comp, because the Hera doesn't have the CC immunity and is also quite punishable. Having the stun as well does shut down the Fenrir's Brutalize early game, or even late game if he's on top of you.
Yeah, it shuts it down really, really well, but late game, I don't think this Fenrir should be on this new wall unless this Losing Cabin is dead. I mean, AMC, he's such a dangerous B-man. He hits hard in early and hits harder late. He's a great lane bully, and hopefully we'll see that in game number 2 between Daddy Daycare and Nachos Supremos. So, we see... That's...
Going into this, we see the Sylvanas being the most aggressive tree. He is in the solo lane. Raid Boss is the hyper aggro tree man. He is saying, I don't care what the meta dictates, I will play what I want to play and I will do it how I want to do it.
Hilarious joke, honestly. Please, this wasn't actually what... okay. That's a Gilgamesh support. It does have its merits. He has great CC and great down. Gabs is able to play it too. I mean, being a former jungler, he is great on this pick. I mean, with my time teaming with him, I do know he's confident on this pick. If you told me Sylvanas was going into the solo lane, I'd have said, oh yeah, that's a Fenrir jungle, right? Well, not a Fenrir jungle, but a Fenrir support, right?
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of those picks can be flexed.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of the beauty of this comp from Daddy Daycare. As speaking of Fenrir, Waddle does fall low, but not low enough to warrant really, him dying. But something I noticed, Raid Boss is using that nice little Christmas skin. It's spreading that holiday joy. We are in December, so Christmas is allowed to be celebrated. That's just, it's law, by the way. Don't fact check that, but it's law. As Mind of Gabs does get aggressive, that is snuffed out by the support cat, but that doesn't matter as Kasha Cat picks up first blood. Second blood over to Waddle XP.
This is the change that I wanted to see after game one. This is the aggression that I was hoping we would see. Daddy Daycare have decided to come into game two and put all of the brakes off. They've taken the handbrake away and they've got their foot on the pedal.
Yeah, and that foot is not coming undone for quite a while, as End of Days did expend his beads there. As speaking of beads being expended, Zelda expends theirs. Waddle is getting beads after beads against Nachos Supremos. Yeah, Raid Boss falling low. Sorry to cut you off. Raid Boss falls low, getting the slow from Narcos. As a Raid Boss does get that pull, but that is not going to stop the kill. Waddle just a tad bit too late. That is the first kill for Nachos Supremos, but it's not first blood, so it doesn't matter as much as, well, the kill on End of Days does.
Yeah, and we see a purple buff invade coming out of this very, very heavy pressure coming from the Gilgamesh and the Chiron. So this is already forcing the B-man very, very far behind this Chiron. And this could be very impactful going into the late game. Losing your purple buff, as I'm sure you'll know, being an ADC player, hurts, especially in the early.
Yeah, I mean, it gives a good amount of attack speed. I mean, it's honestly, it is your main source of attacks. You benefit so much from it that you just losing it hurts so much more than you can imagine, and it provides great XP. You're gaining a quarter a level off of it, really. So losing that out and it going over to the enemy, your enemies, that just feels rough.
Yeah.
As speaking of things that feel rough, why guys feeling the pain of that mannequin scepter? This is not the Daddy Daycare we saw game. As that ultimate Wrath Terry is used, and Y Guy falls.
Raid Boss really is setting himself up to be a Raid Boss right now.
Yeah.
Finding a solo kill back.
Yeah, I mean, it took a gank to go ahead and kill him, but he says, yeah, I'm just gonna solo out a Nike because I'm bored. I mean, he soloed him under his tower line, got no objectives off of it. He just backs and refuses to explain.
Unfortunate mistiming of the Ragnarok there on the Nuan the Fog Cloud. I like the idea.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the execution wasn't quite there.
Yeah, Zelda did just use their ultimate. Their beads were down, so great opportunity. Now Cash Cat is ahead, albeit a very, very slight bit, is ahead just enough to make it matter, although we do see a gank on Bearded, and Narcos is able to pick up that kill. Hera's immobility really showing right there.
Yes. And this is going to be the strength of Nachos Supremos. Having this Camazotz who's going to be able to free dive Hera, no matter if you're under the tower, because as soon as he gets you to about 30% HP, that Battle of the Hell is essentially an execute.
Yeah.
So you've got to be worried about what he's going to be able to do consistently on this Camazotz.
Yeah, you really do have to be worried, but speaking of worry, Zelda has to be worried about Y Guy. Now, XP chasing after him. He doesn't have all too many abilities up, so that is going to be Zelda able to back, but that forces him off of his red buff. Although it doesn't seem like Daddy Daycare is going for the invade, but ultimate used from Raid Boss as it is used from Y Guy, and it's looking rough. I mean, Raid Boss has had the advantage here in this lane since forever ago.
Yeah.
He's just getting tick after tick of damage. Although, speaking of people having advantages, Narcos has had this advantage in the jungle for quite a while. Raid Boss now facing a 2v1. Although Y Guy is low, it doesn't matter. Great revenge kill. Raid Boss falls so slightly before Y-Guy. Y-Guy picking up that kill. That gives the Revenge Gold and XP over to Raid Boss. And, oh, that just results for nothing for Nachos Supremos.
Yeah, Red Boss manages to find the kill in a 2v1 on the tree. And this is going to be interesting as we get into the late game. Sylvanas not really having a huge effect late game from the solo lane, or not as much as a traditional solo laner would do. However, him getting a lead, and if he's able to snowball this, it's not going to matter that he's not a warrior. He's going to force Nachos Supremos to constantly be asking questions about where he is and what he's doing. Because they're never going to be able to take their eyes off him for fear of a Wrath of Terror coming around the corner and hitting you for 700, 800 damage.
It looks like Nachos was setting up for the purple buff invade, deciding against it after seeing Daddy Daycare were under their tower, able to defend it. They had no eyes on Waddle, so could have been a part of the reason, but Waddle is here. He does take XP, and, you know, End of Days does have his bees up, so no threat here. Cash Cat most likely going to take that, probably going to take this wave and back to get Transcendence.
Yeah. I would like to point out right now, the Sylvanas, after getting the Mystical Mail, is building its attack speed.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it. I just thought out of sight, out of mind. Kind of just like I just put a little sticky note over that piece of my monitor. It's like, I'm not going to mention it until Big Ian mentions it. And like right after I did that, you mentioned it. So I'm like, now I have to talk about it. But this is something we do see off of quite a few Sylvanas. Doesn't provide much tankiness. As, well, he does fall to Y-Guy and Narcos, and, well, another gank. That's this third gank in his third death.
This is the struggle of playing the Sylvanas, though. You've got to recognize that you're going to get sat on by the jungler. You have no escape tools. You're very, very immobile.
Yeah, speaking of no escape tools, Zelda doesn't have many, forced to use that ultimate. Unfortunately, in Mind of Gabs picks up the kill. Cat just out of position, being chased down by Waddle XP. Cat is low. Gabs might just be able to pick up the return. A 2-for-1 in favor of Daddy Daycare.
Yeah. Gab's really showing that he used to be a jungler. The mechanics on this Gilgamesh are looking quite strong so far. The dropkick was good, the Winds of Shamash was good, creating the space. Although, Cat did have a nice damage pillars, but unfortunately it's not enough to dissuade people from going in just yet.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, especially without much without the follow-up that you could have from a new wall, you just have a ultimate-less Camazon. That's not much follow-up, if any.
Exactly. And honestly, them getting a kill there it's not the worst scenario, but it felt like it was a struggle to even get that one pick off.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that. I mean, with how long Bearded lasted against a Camazotz? It's insane. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, if they recognize this Camazotz is killable and they can just force it off of Bearded more often, then Narcos is going to be shut down. He's 3-0 right now with a 3-level lead onto Waddle XP. But if they recognize how killable he is, this is going to look really, really rough for him.
I don't think they need to recognize how killable he is. They just have to recognize how unkillable Bearded is going to be. He is going that foot build, although there's a bit of a gank hopping out, making it a 2v2 is Narcos. Waddle XP is low, forcing out that Ragnarok. Great Aegis, but there is the bat out of hell, causing hell for Waddle XP. Narcos able to pick up that kill. That was definitely something. As Raid Boss, he sticks around.
Please, this tree alone. Please.
Yeah, please leave the tree alone. You've already killed him enough.
I feel like I'm talking to my pets. Please leave the Christmas tree.
Please just leave the Christmas. It's like you look at your dog like, hey, I understand, it's a Christmas tree, but like, can you leave it alone this year? Like, please? And speaking about leaving things alone this year, Narcos looking for a gank on Bearded. Alright, well, now we can continue. Just, waffle in it. Other European slang terms that I don't know.
Okay.
Narcos does blink out onto Bearded, and Bearded is able to successfully defend it. Yeah.
Bearded's going to be really, really tanky when this build comes online. When he gets to that Book of the Dead third item, which I'm sure is going to be the build, the Camazot's going to find it really, really hard to try and dive it. Also, the Nike is as well, because of the amount of overshield this Hera's going to get. You're going to have to cut through what is essentially an extra health bar.
Yeah,
and I don't know how well the Camazotz is going to be able to do that.
I mean, without that normal health bar, with the normal health bar, he isn't even killing them on his own. But speaking of killing people on their own, Raid Boss picking up that Ring of Hakate. It's a damage item. That's definitely true about it.
Well, Raid Boss wanting to be the Raid Boss, the tree wants to be able to solo people, and the Ring of Hakate, the AoE autos, is going to be able to proc the passive from Ring of Hakate just instantly, as long as there's 3 targets underneath the auto attack. And that's going to be an instant burst in how much you're going to be able to do.
Yeah, End of Days, although, was positioning for a gank. And Waddle recognized this. Backing. Great discipline, not going on an End of Days, and just better positioning from Narcos.
Yeah. Nachos really is the difference maker this set. 6-0 so far. 4-level lead out of the junglers, and that's the disparity.
Yeah, that is the disparity. We're seeing it right here. I mean, well, all right. Well, the disparity is now showing a bit larger. I didn't think they were on gold for you. I really couldn't. It's not my favorite thing about this game, graphs. But it really wasn't that apparent. You really didn't feel that looking at the whole team. But with Narcos being how ahead he is, it just.
This is now the issue for Daddy Daycare. How do you deal with this Camazotz that's 3 levels ahead of your jungler? Fenrir is more of a god that likes to supplement his team and allow them to just take the forefront in what they're doing. The Ragnarok is a great setup tool, but is that setup tool enough to deal with this Camazotz?
Yeah, that is a definite question that I think Daycare needs to ask themselves and recognize that, no, it's not going to be enough. I mean, now 4 levels down, you aren't going to make any difference. You should just be shredded instantly. He's a full item behind. He's dying.
I will say that the build from the Fenrir is a little strange. Opting for no cooldown as of yet and going Crush It into Berserker's Shield. Both attack speed orientated items in their own right.
Sorry, I was yawning, but yeah, that they definitely are. And Narcos able to pick up the kill and making him unstoppable on Raid Boss. The, not really movable tree does fall.
The not so Raid Boss anymore in the game.
Yeah. He's early, he felt his power, and then Narcos kind of just said, nah.
Yeah. We'll see how well you can solo me later on when I've got my items online.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this is. Nachos does pick up that Pyromancer. As that Book of Health is now fully stacked for Bearded Bro. So Mind of Gab's, kind of just doing Mind of Gab's things. He's farming the mid lane. As Waddle, that's an 8-point shuriken.
Yes, it is.
That's an item.
The Fenrir build is, I'm going to say questionable.
We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. If he can make it work, he can make it work. Although I don't see the crit rear really rearing his head as this game goes on.
Neither do I. You know what they say: if you're behind, just build crit. That's definitely what they say. Don't ask me. Don't fact check that. Never fact check anything I say, because I am the caster, and as we all know, casters are always.
Yeah. Don't question anything Panda Barash ever says ever.
Nope.
I've
never.
got that written down. I've got it tattooed across my chest.
Yep. I mean, who wouldn't? I feel like that's the best quote I've ever said. Although an unfortunate circumstance does happen, as we just see the duo lane of Daycare melted, as well. Raid boss disappears in right lane, and that just leaves Bearded to, be a not mobile character against an Ike. It's just gonna get chased out. This is definitely just Nike things. Not having Book of the Dead, you're not gonna be able to do much as this left Phoenix, it falls. Daycare now in a horrible position. I mean, your Fenrir, he was in mid lane. Now he's, back with Mind of Gabs. What can he do now?
What can you do now is the question. I suppose if you're Daddy Daycare, you've just lost your left Phoenix at 17 minutes. Albeit, it's only a 3k gold deficit, but you just lost the 2v1 in right for a T2 tower. And then you also lose your fight in left lane. And this is before Fire Giants are even factored into the equation. Because now you have to defend this left lane against Fire Minions. And that's instantly going to make this fight over Fire Giant a 4v5. So if I'm Daddy Daycare, you're going to be looking at a very, very rough road ahead. You're going to be asking questions like, do I give up this Fire Giant? Do I just let the minions push in and take the Titan poke? Although that's not the best idea, because that opens the options for backdooring. You're going to have a lot of questions here.
None of them can go unanswered. That is the fact of it. Daddy Daycare needs to notice every single question that you just asked, and they need to mark them down in their notebooks, and they need to do their homework on them, and they need to tell their team, they need to say, hey, if we don't fight this Fire Giant, we're putting ourselves in a bad position, but not the worst. But we have to defend left lane. We have to defend mid lane. If they take another Phoenix, this game might as well be over.
Yeah. Also, we do see Raid Boss securing that Scorpion, getting the steal away, committing his Blink and his ultimate there.
Mm-hmm. That's just interesting. I mean, I think Raid Boss, he's just... I don't disagree with a lot of his play. I don't agree with a lot of his plays. I think, especially as a late-game Sylvanas, you need to play as a late-game Sylvanas. But it looks like they are going to take some of this fire minion poke as it just walks in on this Titan. No one's there to defend it. Two people are backing. It looks like it's going to be Kasha Cat who does leave. Dharmic Pillars is dropped. Great Wrath of Terra from Raid Boss. But that might not be enough. And no, it is not. But Final able to pick up the kill in that 4v5. And the Book of the Dead putting in its work. But Cat is right behind, but Gab's saying no. He is defending backline as it is just Gabs and Kasha Cat Bearded having his ultimate out, making this fight a successful 3v3 as Waddle is just in there deep.
Yeah. Now Waddle looking like he's out of position.
Yeah, he's out of position, but the big crit diff! Narcos falls! I repeat, Waddle XP just crit diffed Narcos.
Maybe Waddle XP is too smart for every single person who is casting and all of the production team. He knows more than all of us. The crit rear is getting some value.
The crit rear. He says, you know what? I am lucky today. He played like a round of blackjack,
got 21 on the first draw and said, all right, going crit. But what's not so lucky is this Fire Giant being pulled. Bearded can't do much, and it looks like it's going to be secured for Nachos Supremos. Got excited. Great secure coming out from Cat, using that Dharmic's Pillars. It was close, although it wasn't close. It was Bearded's team, as it was only Cash and Cat. Bearded falls down to just Nachos Supremos.
However, we've got to look at the Titan right now, already at 50% HP from this Fire Giant perk. They're going to be able to sweep the towers at least here, and maybe even push for another Phoenix.
Yeah, I think they can push for left. It's already weakened. They don't have any more Fire Waves, so it's not going to naturally fall down. They almost have to sweep towers and then push at left. If they don't, if they go for any other Phoenix, I am going to personally teleport to each and every single one of their houses, point at the left Phoenix on their screens, and I'm going to tell them, you should have targeted that.
That's a very nice way of putting what you'd like to do.
Yeah, that's, no, I'm not putting it nicely. That is exactly what I'm going to do. That is my full and utter intentions. I would never do anything mean to our beautiful SDL players. They're great people, I hope.
And they're opting not to go for this left Phoenix siege as of yet, maybe choosing to back off, spend this gold, and then re-walk forwards. I don't hate this call. Having this 8k gold lead is going to be pivotal in these sieges to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to show. Waddle, he's not getting anything off of his tier 1 as he picks up Hidden Dagger. He's definitely going into this crit. I mean, it just...
Fenrir thinking he's an ADC? Not the strangest thing we're ever going to see.
Yeah, I don't think that's the strangest thing we'll see today. Or even tomorrow. I mean, I think in the SDL semifinals, that's not the oddest pick, although what is quite an odd thing is Kasha Cat being picked out. And, well, it looks like Mind of Gabs is successful in escaping, but Narcos is there, and great defense from Kasha Cat, but it wasn't enough. Narcos bursting them down, Raid Boss falls low, and it is just a 3v5 as a Waddle XP is split push. Look at him go. Look at him.
And we do see see the Amazon actually take this one-on-one.
I am surprised. Color me completely surprised. That is, it's a 2v4 down there. It's still an unfair thing. Yeah, Nachos Supremos able to pick up that Phoenix easy peasy. I mean, it was already weakened, so you should be able to pick it up every single time. But Waddle XP, he does go out there. He is in Ragnarok, and that Dharmic Pillars is sitting right on the Titan. It's gonna last for time. Zelda and End of Days are being spaced out. Great zoning coming out from Daddy Daycare, but it might just not be enough. Cat, although he does fall, but like I said, it's not enough. End of Days, and Zelda picking up the Titan for Nachos Supremos.
Yeah, and that game was a different story to Game 1. Game 1 felt like it was two teams that were very close together. Game 2 was, we have a bit of early aggression, but we don't know how to translate it for Daddy Daycare. Going into that mid-game phase, we just saw Nachos take all the momentum that Daddy Daycare had and just run with it themselves.
Yeah, Nachos quite literally, it looked like Nachos had their lunch money taken once and then said, you know what? All the lunch money's mine, and took everyone's lunch money. Like,
yeah.
Everyone's.
Yeah. So now 2-0 up in the set of Nachos Supremos. They must be feeling very, very good about this, but I'm wondering if Daddy Daycare have more left in the tank. Going 2-0 down in a set is going to feel rough for your mental, but having the more experienced captain like Bearded, it's going to be calm and reassuring their atmosphere, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely think so.
Like, the change I'd like to see is I'd like to see Waddle on something he can just deal straight damage with. He's not someone who's going to be setting up for his team. He likes to get in there and he likes to deal the damage. If you're giving him a Fenrir, he's going to build crit on it. So give him a god that he's going to be suited for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel like the changes are going to need to be made. I'm
Yeah.
happy with the Neef change. Like the Chiron was doing really, really well up until the point of the big team fight stage. So yeah.
But I mean, at that point, what can a Chiron do? He was being dove by a Camazotz who was ahead. He was, he didn't have anyone else in that backline, really. I mean, he did have the Hera, but it didn't seem like it mattered because he was just being doped by Camazotz 24/7. I mean, there wasn't a fight where Narcos wasn't on Kashyyyk. And good on Narcos. Good on recognizing that you need to be on that ADC because that's going to be the difference maker every single time. And that is a complete and utter fact.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there needs to be changes. I think Waddle needs to get on something a lot more aggressive and possibly like an Erlang Shen. Everything else can stay the same for Daddy Daycare. Although, hopefully, we're going to see these changes that need to be made in game number 3 after this short intermission.
Yeah.
I know that you're mine, but I wish we could pause and press rewind. When I'm not with you, boy, you got me hoping for a redo. Might run out of time, so why can't we just pause and press rewind? When I'm not with you, boy, you got me hoping for a redo. I know that you're mine. I know that you're I know that you're mine. Hoping for a redo. I know that you're mine, but I wish we could pause and press rewind. When I'm not with you, boy, you got me hoping for a redo. Might run out of time, so why can't we just pause and press rewind? When I'm not with you, boy, you got me hoping for a redo. I know that you're I know that you're I know that you're mine.
Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, we have some unfortunate news. Servers are currently under maintenance right now, and, well, we have to wait. We are going to take a quick extended break. Hopefully, it's not going to last too much longer. We can get right into Game 3. But stick around.
Hoping for a redo. I know that you're mine, Just some more whiskey. I can't seem to understand how you do this to me. You've been running in circles inside my head. Wasn't looking for love, but baby, I found you instead.
Guys, I have some great news for you. We are going to be seeing a Game 3 right here, right now. It is Panda Bear Ash, and it is Big Ian still on the cast. And I'm excited. You know, with servers, unfortunately, being servers, they, you know, kind of just went under maintenance, and we were hoping, of course, luckily we were able to get it. So I'm excited. Let's just hop right into it.
Yeah. We should be looking at an interesting Game 3 now. I'm interested to see whether or not Daddy Daycare can bounce back from this 2-0 down in the set. As we've said, the mentals must be taking a toll right now. Are Nachos Supreme going to be able to free all their opponents, or will Daddy Daycare come back in this set?
Yeah, that is a great question. I mean, with, at least off the top of my head, I know Waddle and Kashakat, this is their first time playing in a playoffs. They've played quarters, but they have not ever been in a best of 5. Nachos Supremos, once again, banning the Susano. They're placing heavy focus on the Susano. And Daddy Daycare, in return, putting this heavy focus on Morgan.
Yeah, honestly, just taking away the Morgan. It's a very, very strong god. Obviously respecting Zelda's Morgan more so than anything. Because at the end of the day, you don't want this Morgan being able to double up on a Tsukiyomi ult, a Cthulhu ult, or anything else that could be used as an essential tool to win a team fight.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan's such a valuable pick. I mean, there's a point that if you want to leave the Morgan, you can just ban around the Morgan, but that's harder. I mean, especially now in metas where, where banning around the Morgan is viable. All right, that's okay. But with Morgan, just how good she is right now, there's no reason not to ban her, especially out of capable hands like Zelda's.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes more sense to me to ban the Morgan away rather than banning around it, because that way you can focus your bans on other things.
Yeah, and we've seen that. Daycare have been able to focus their bans more directed at this end of days. Been able to ban out some of Y Guy's picks, and overall they've done a really good job of it. I mean, it's not like Daycare hasn't done. They haven't done a bad job in draft. They've had great drafts, time in and time out.
Yeah, the drafts aren't really that impactful. It's how you play your draft, which is the most impactful. And making Waddle play this more supporty style in the jungle doesn't fit his playstyle. You want him to be comfortable, you want him on the gods that he likes. And I really would just prefer to see him on a god that he can get in there and deal his damage with.
Yeah, I'd prefer that too. I mean, we see the Susano being banned out from him every single time. Let's get him on gods like Susano. All right, well, who's like Susano? Not so much, but Erlang Shen. Much like Susano, great burst, great engage, and he can carry fights. Well, you also can pick up a Gilgamesh able to survive and carry these fights really well. You're just not, that's not a Fenrir pick. Ever. I mean,
exactly.
Waddle, he needs to get off of this Fenrir. I don't think you ever put him back on it, at least in this series. And
you just look at it and you say, well, what can Waddle play? Well, like we said, this Susano, so something needs to change, and we're focusing on it because that's what was Game 2 about. It was about the jungle and the jungle only. Kashakat did great on that Chiron. Bearded did great on that Hera, and Raid Boss in that early, he did great on that Sylvanas.
Yeah. Realistically, we need to learn how to translate that early pressure into this late game lead. And honestly, if they have a better late game scaling team, I don't mind them picking most of the same comp.
Yeah, but what I do mind is a Geb rolling into my backline. Geb, quite a big pick here, pun intended, as he's one of the best, if not the best, support in the SDL. I say that because not many supports can play Emoja, so it's this thing of, Geb, sort of the next best option. He doesn't have that healing, but he does have that great cleanse. He does have that built-in CC immunity in his kit. That is responded by a Nike coming out from Raid Boss, or at least that's what I assume. We've been seeing Nike in that jungle. She pairs really nicely with gods like Hunbats, which would fit Waddle's style.
Yeah. So they've let this Geb through, and we know by now that Cat's really comfortable on this Ganesh. If they're able to find the same amount of value on this Geb as they would on the Ganesh, this pick's going to work out better for them. The Nike also getting through could pose an issue because as of yet they don't have this huge burst. Like, they could be possibly picking up Sunders to try and deal with it, but Nike's a really strong pick, and pulling relics already is a good option.
Yeah, as Cat does choose to go back on the sneak. Had a bit of a rough early game, but a great late game on it. In Game 1, Achilles and Camazotz are going to be the return picks from Nachos Supremos. Achilles, the biggest lane bully in the game besides Mulan, which I'm surprised we haven't seen picked yet. And Camazotz, a great pick. Camazotz, we saw Narcos perform on it just last game, and, well, he ran the game. But let's look at, something that just hasn't been picked at all. It looks like it's going to be picked this first phase. Let's talk about the mids. I mean, Bearded and Zelda, they've been quiet parts about the game, but big parts nonetheless. Do you think we're going to see bans going targeted at them? And what bans do you think we could see?
I feel like if I'm Daddy Daycare, I'd take away the Scylla. We know who Zelda is. It makes sense to take it away. If I'm Nachos Supremos, though, I'm thinking maybe a soul ban, maybe something that just kind of dissuades them from just banning people to the floor.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that you definitely want to ban just bearded picks. He did really well in that soul Game 1, so take it away from him. Raid Boss, not that Sobek being banned, so we could be seeing I do know something. Gabs loves Nike, so it could be going over to support. But Daddy Daycare choosing to ban out Zelda, and honestly, I love it. Persephone, he prefers just Zelda. Well, Zelda prefers Persephone over any other gods besides Scylla and Morgan, which are banned out. So Zelda definitely having to go deeper into this pocket of his than he has had to go.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what the mid pickup is here. So far left on the table, there is the Tiamat, there is the perhaps the Discordia, the fourth is still open to be picked, the Ra. There is a lot of good mid picks left open that synergize really well with this gap.
Yeah, there definitely is. But that's a Horus coming out from Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Especially with 3 physicals on the board. Not what I would have picked there. It definitely can work. We've seen quad physical
worked before,
From the
and it looks like Zelda going into something we haven't
hit.
seen.
What
This
you
hell
aim-
for him, a great pick on its own, although it did get nerfed, and healing did get nerfed quite a bit, so it's not going to be as good as hell once was. And Chiron being picked for End of Days,
The
it's
light is all around you.
Chiron a great pick, but go on.
This is a very interesting draft from Daddy Daycare. The Oleron locked in last pick. Hardly any CC immunity coming from the hell of a Geb, like outside of perhaps maybe a cleanse. The Chiron has his ult, but trading ult for ult is usually a decent enough trade where you're going equal enough. You catch enough people in that field, you're going to be banning a lot. And then on top of like the other aggression, this is sort of the same story we saw Game Mob. This is the high objective pressure comps. These are the comps that are going to want to take objectives and just try and take the fight straight to you. However, it's almost like looking at the inverse option. Because when we look at Nachos Supremos, we're looking at a team that wants to take these brawls. They don't want just one big team fight. They want a very long, very sustained team fight where they can abuse the fact that the health has the healing, the Chiron's got the little passive ticks, Camazots can use those pulls. Like, they're going to want to take these long, drawn-out fights. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the Geb and the Achilles hold up a strong enough front line to prevent this Horus, Ravana, Nike from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the story of this game. I mean, I know that's going to be what this game is about. If in these team fights you let Nike, Ravana, and Horus go through, that's going to be an easy sanctified field for Oleron. It's going to be an easy way in for. I mean, you're just letting Daddy Daycare do what they want to do, and then they could follow it up right up with just an objective easily.
Yeah. And this is going to be really, really interesting going in. It's definitely going to depend on whose comp is going, who's going to play their comp better.
Yeah. And currently, I mean, I'm not sure. As we've seen, it definitely is Nachos, but teams just have a different mentality going into these later stages. I like calling them these championship rounds, stealing a bit from MMA. But these championship rounds, these final 3 games matter the most because you're on match point if you're Daddy Daycare. You can lose if you lose one game. So you aren't treating this as a best of 3. You aren't treating it as a best of 5. This is 3 consecutive best of 1s. You're facing 3 different teams each and every single time because not just if they lose, they're changing something. Daddy Daycare, they know this, and they have to be knowledgeable of this. They have to be ready to go ahead and play at their peak, because if they don't play at their peak, they are losing.
Yeah, that is essentially what we're going to see here. It's a very, very interesting dynamic we're seeing. I don't know if Daddy Daycare are going to be ready for this, because this hell pick has come from left field. I don't think anyone knew that Zelda was going to lock this hell. No one knew what it was coming. So they've obviously got a comp that is drafted to try and take instant fights. But this Geb, this hell, don't really let you. That's what is going to really make the difference here. Are they going to be able to anti-heal these people out and just burst them? Because Sanctified Field is only going to prevent, well, not prevent, but allow a short space and a short window of time to try and blow someone up. Yeah. Same for instance, a Sentinel of Zeus. The Sentinel of Zeus doesn't have a lot of burst, but it has a lot of area control. The Ravana has the Mystic Rush, where you could dive on top of this hell. But you've also got to remember, there is a Geb there to cleanse and shield out.
Yeah, we're going to have to see this in-game. We hop right into game number 3. Nachos versus Daddy Daycare. And Raid Boss, that's not something we see all too often. Raid Boss in the support role. Mind of Gabs is your solo laner for this game.
Yeah.
I like this change. Mind of Gabs is great on this Nike. Waddle says this jungle.
What we do see, though, is something that is very left field. we see Raid Boss picking up a mannequin scepter on this Horus Fest.
If I do not perceive, it is not there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the motto I'm going to live by for this game. As, yeah, Daddy Daycare, just, they need to be careful. They're pulling out the jank, and the jank hasn't exactly worked out for them.
No.
It's looking like it's working right now, as End of Days does fall low, but Raid Boss might just fall even lower as End of Days picks up this first blood for his team.
Yeah. And this is the drawback of getting the mannequin scepter. You have a little bit more aggression, but you have all the more chance to die.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what it is. I don't know. Raid Boss, there's a reason why you really only see mannequins pick up on, because it offers his wave clear even better, but you don't see it in competitive play. You don't see it often because it just isn't that good, right? It has its place if you're being aggressive, but I don't think its place is on Horus.
If you're doing it, you need to guarantee a snowball. If you don't snowball, it feels very, very bad.
You've essentially lost your support. Whatever lane you want to say support has, that is now lost. They've lost the mid 3v3 because your support's not going to be behind. You've lost this dual lane because your support's going to be behind. This is a high risk, high reward type of itemization we're seeing out of Daddy Daycare. I mean, Kasha Cat not going for the exact meta, although picking up Death's Toll, which does feel really, really nice, especially as an ADC. But although what also seems nice is Mind of Gabs right now. Nachos looking for that gank, unsuccessful with it.
Yeah. This is already looking rough for the duo lane of Daddy Daycare right now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play really safe if you're Cash Cat. You can't let them have this opportunity to free dive you. If you're taking poke, that's not worth for you anymore. Because you know your Horus is already far behind, and if you're putting even more strain onto your lane, the chances are you're going to be punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't... you have to. I mean, if you're Kasha Cat, what you're doing is you are not stepping up to wave. You are hoping that End of Days can't free, or just doesn't choose to freeze the wave, push it up to your tower, and you farm that. You aren't leaving tower, because if you aren't able to backflip under tower, unlike Mind of Gads, who's able to do a hero landing into tower and almost get out of there scot-free, Mind of Gabs uses that ultimate for the kill, although unfortunately Y-Guy Trash is able to get that third blood.
Yeah. However, the revenge kill is going to be the story there.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more gold in return for that.
Yeah, speaking of a little bit more gold, there's a little bit more gold in Waddle XP's pocket. I mean, we talked about an ability carrying, a god who has abilities and a god who can carry fights. Well, that's Ravana. This is the pick that we were talking about when we were thinking Waddle. Not the Fenrir. It's this Ravana who's going to go in there, Mystic Rush his target, and kill them no matter what.
Yeah. This is what I like to see Waddle on. This is where he's going to shine more than anything.
Yeah, although it looks like Cash Cat may not have the time to shine, as that was so close in the days. Used that giddy up way too early there, and it looks like that's not going to amount to really anything. He does get some poke and the bees out from Kasha Cat, and he does use Centaurus, but another great backflip. Kasha Cat, although doesn't go into lane, he gets the kill on Cat, but End of Days gets the kill here. But Raid Boss is chasing End of Days, straight chasing out, putting that minion all the way up. And well, End of Days, he's able to dash out of there, but it's not without its merits. End of Days did have to use his beat there.
Yeah, that was really, really nice aggression coming out from Daddy Daycare. Unfortunately, Cat dying there means that it is a 1-for-1 trade. But ADC for support? Support for ADC, rather? I'd take that any day.
Yeah, if I'm Daddy Daycare, I am taking that any day of the week. But you just have to be knowledgeable that end of days, he's going to have to be careful and farm. But someone else who's going to have to be careful and farm up is my guy. Minded Gabs picking up that second solo kill.
Yeah. A kill, Wild Guy just not respecting this Nike's damage. By the looks of it, that's 2 solo kills already for Mind of Gabs.
I think it's less of respecting Nike and less of respecting Mind of Gabs. I mean, everyone has a Nike if you're solo. But Mind of Gabs' Nike is different. This is a pick that he loves. This is his bread and butter. When I was on a team with this man, this guy spent, I kid you not, a good 15 minutes convincing us Nike jungle pick. And when we let him run it, he ran the game. So, you know, I'm not saying, but I am saying something.
We are seeing a Gold Scorpion being dropped by Daddy Daycare here, and this is the right call. You need to be dropping these Scorpions early to get onto these objective plays, because that's where your comp shines.
Yeah, I mean, you need to know these objectives, and that's what Nachos did game 1, and it's not looking like that can be. That's not what Daddy Daycare is going to let them do now. Although an ultimate from Horus is being used, Cash Cat is being doped by Narcos, but that isn't going to matter. Centaurus used out from End of Days, and it's just Waddle up in the junk of Cat. Somehow, some way, he gonna be able to escape Cash Cat, also escaping with their life. This is absolutely insane.
3 ultimates used on both sides. No deaths for either team. That was a fight in the duel. Great deal from Cat right there. Geb does save the Chiron's life when the Ravana jumps in. Mystic Rush just over the top of the Chiron, meaning he didn't have that damage there that maybe would have secured that kill. But still, very good peel from Cat, managed to get the Cataclysm off, getting the shield up, and then just knocking up and preventing the Ravana from doing his damage.
Yeah, that was just honestly great micro play from Cat. I mean, he's definitely showing his support veteranship over Raid Boss, who's been playing solo this whole set. You know, although he's been doing a great job in support. I mean, obviously, you know, he's not, you know, Panda Bear Mike. Well, no, like, I'm Panda Bear. No, he's not Polar Bear Mike, but he is doing his job, and he's doing it to the level I expected him to. And I had high hopes for him. Although, you know what I don't have high hopes for? Bearded Living.
What I don't have high hopes for now is how well this mystical male Horus is going to scale into late game.
Yeah, look, it can work. It's extra tick damage. Maybe he's, you know, although there's something good cleanse coming up from hell, though. Love that. Zelda definitely has been practicing this pick, and he knows it, but the heel of Achilles was exposed there, and that's forcing the blink and the ultimate out from Y Guy. Mind of Gabs and Waddle tried to go for the kill there. Not able to get it, but they get something even larger. They get his ultimate and some great tower poke, although Bearded is in trouble being followed by Narco, but it looks like he's going to be able to escape. Great shield onto Zelda, and this might just out here. Once again, Zelda able to... Zelda and Cat looking around, boss heal for his mid lane, and it seems as if not let go this engagement.
Yeah.
And well, it looks
that was
like
a very good fight. Once again, Cat coming with this huge peel, preventing the health from dying right there, and then good cleanup from Nachos. That's a fact.
Yeah, great cleanup if you ask me. I mean, just literally. Waddle dying is unfortunate for Daddy Daycare, but honestly, it doesn't feel all too bad. I mean, they really can't get much off of it. Your jungle
wasn't on, so you were just kind of fighting to fight. You know, you were ganking to get your mid laner ahead. Your jungle wasn't up, so you're not losing out on any XP, just losing out on some kill XP, which seems to hasn't made a difference yet.
Yeah, exactly. And like looking at the gold, we are seeing a very well, not even small, it's about nearly 2k gold lead for Daddy Daycare, despite the kills being even farming better and more efficiently.
Yeah, it's just the kills don't tell the story. Daddy Daycare farming just their heads off it. It's insane, but I think it's a lot of this lead is entirely in Gabs and Bearden. I mean, it's even everywhere else except this, you know, the support who is a level above Cat, but Gabs, he's 2 levels ahead. Bearded is a level ahead. It seems as if everyone is ahead. I more than I look at it, it seems as if Daddy Daycare, overall, it wasn't like Nachos. It wasn't like Nachos in game 1, how one person was the lead. Daddy Daycare has leads all over.
Yeah, and this is the hardest to shut down, because you're going to have to find the straight pickoffs and just try and take your advantages where you can find them. So setting up for these ganks is fine for Nachos, but you've got to respect the fact that Watt could just be there as well, and you're going to lose a straight out fight with him.
Yeah, you honestly are, and you just gotta be prepared to. I mean, that's kind of just the fact about it. You just have to be prepared to lose any fight. But Y Guy just lost the fight there. He got soloed out.
3 solo kills now for this huge Nike.
Yeah, great. Just it just honestly seems like, you know, not okay. I was thinking about Waddle, but mind the Gabs just getting these free kills, farming out Y Guy. I mean, he's level 13 now, battling out Narcos. And Narcos doesn't seem like he's doing too much on the health bar, though he does disengage right about now. Zelda is in a tiny bit of trouble as Waddle's behind, as he does go, but forcing out that cleanse from the Geb is huge.
While this is all happening, Rainbow just steals away the red buff.
Yeah, Raid Boss just kind of doing Raid Boss things. Not really sure. I mean, they're doing a good job.
Going to come from. It's going to come from these little victories before the objectives start falling. This is how you're going to win the fights before they even happen. Like, gathering your lead from these very small little victories early on, even if it's above still, like a small XP cap, that's good. Like, if there's no kills happening and you can get that for free without dying, why would you not?
Yeah, speaking about small victories, this just might be a small victory for Nachos Supremos, forcing out the ultimate from Bearded. Nothing in exchange. They don't even get a kill, although what might be happening, the kill turned on Daddy Daycare. Gabs here. Waddle nowhere to be seen in this fight. Oh, never mind. He is there. Gabs picking up the kill. Just can't help but to gank mid lane like a classic jungler. Narcos trying to do something. A kill onto End of Days. It is a cross map 2-4-2.
Yeah, and we see while this is happening in the duel, and the Horus managing to help get the kill on the End of Days. But then that was a very, very good team fight for Nachos right there. Nachos showing why he was so dominant on this Camazotz in the game before this, showing that it wasn't just a fluke. Managing to get 2 picks in mid, only losing Zelda. And the picks he gets are the mid lane and the jungler.
Yeah. It's absolutely huge, although speaking of jungler, he is going on Cash Cat. Cash Cat is low, but out of hell is able to find the kill, and that's just great. And speaking about finding kills, why Guy finding this kill on a Raid Boss, and it's just Gabs once again. He's going to go ahead and disengage, and that's going to be the gold for you for Nachos Supremos.
Yeah. And this is where, if I'm Daddy Daycare, you've got to take a seat back. Because you've just lost a fight, or not lost a fight, but you've lost your members and you're in their side of the jungle. Their team are going to get there before you. You need to just take your foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like Daycare trying to mitigate these losses. As that's just, they go ahead, take up this Pyromancer, and just feels really nice. You know, you lost the Gold Fury, sure, but you now have that Pyromancer under your belt. And it just, I can't stress this enough, but, well, you are stressing it a lot, but I'm going to stress it even more. These small victories are going to lead up to these big fight wins. Taking that Pyromancer and not letting Nachos even touch it is such a huge victory for Daycare. I don't think they really understand the magnitude.
Yeah. Like, finding Raid Boss after all of that is going to be so impactful. Because it's just going to make him think twice before running into your jungle again.
Yeah. Although someone who's running into their jungle is Zelda. Zelda is quite low after being poked out from Daycare. And, well, that was a 3v2, so that explains quite a lot, as Gabs had to expend just a tiny bit to escape out from Narcos and Y-Guy. That tier 1 is taken. Waddle looking for something, some dangerous positioning. He could be backed up, but end of days, just getting picked out. Although not dying, he just noted and got just pinged out by Waddle. And it looks like those beads are going to be used. That is not good, but the orb is short from Bearded. How unfortunate End of Days is able to escape there, although it doesn't feel too horrible from Cash and Cat. Cash and Cat able to just farm up and do neat things.
Yeah. And honestly, these are what we were saying though. These are the little victories that you've got to be taking if you're Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, and a little victory that they might not be taking is this fight, as it is a 3v2. Although Gabs enters in there, says, hey, you know, I'm kinda level 17. And everyone's like, oh, okay, understandable. Yeah, we're gonna leave you alone. Looks like they had to walk their gold.
17 Nike alone as well.
Yeah, looks like they had to walk their goldfish or something like that. Not really sure, but, you know, we all have our excuses to get out of playing with that kid who's totally gonna beat us up. Although, someone who got beat up was Narco, getting deleted by Bearded, and Cash a Cat just stealing that kill. Ultimate use from Raid Boss. Bearded, knowing of it, he does pop into it as the End of Days dodging and weaving, putting on those juke boots, shield from over the wall, and Aegis. But that's not gonna be enough. Zelda is behind. Bearded is worried. Centaurus is... Oh my lord. Those hits were successful. End of Days got the kill there, but not without his own fall. Waddle picking up a kill. Raid Boss only at half health. He is not worried. Looks like they're gonna get out of there for that 1-for-1.
Yeah. And this is mind of Gabs using a lot of cooldowns there to try and get this kill onto a level 14 Achilles. I don't know how much this kill would be worth right now to him. Maybe it's more of a mental thing for solo laners. I want to
It is.
Yeah.
100%.
It's more about showing who's got the biggest stick.
Yeah. And Nike, being Nike, has the biggest stick. I mean, we all know. I mean, doesn't Nike, like, slam down a stick in her ultimate to get a giant shield?
Yeah, she does slam down the stick.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, then she must have the biggest stick because it gives her the biggest health bar. All right. Well, this game, it's even in kills, but gold tells a different story. Almost 3K for Daddy Daycare, and some of these doesn't really seem like it. Nachos able to win quite a few of these, but Daddy Daycare winning the fights that matter.
Yeah, and this is largely off the back of the stats that Waddle and Gabs are going to be able to provide. Because we're seeing this Nike who is now level 18, and also Waddle being the same level. That is a huge lead right now.
Yeah, I mean, having two people on level 18, they're gonna be going on level 20 really, really soon. These starters are such a huge power spike that you just kind of can win a game off.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, speaking of winning a game, standing there in fog isn't gonna do that, but you know what is getting kills, Will? Cat 4200 does fall, and using that Horus ult, that engages, you know, something we don't see often, but a great idea as End of Days tries to solo out Gold for an intense fight. Oni Fury does not have the advantage here as he gets lucky with those crits, and Today's able to pick up that kill on the Oni Fury, getting those waves for his team.
Yeah. And I like this call from End of Days and Nachos Supremos. That objective is so much more important right now than more so than a T2 and solo level. Because realistically, you're not going to be able to push down a Phoenix. So getting that objective and taking it off the map so they don't have pressure for this fire ground.
I mean, that is huge. You know, these Oni waves create so much pressure. They are like a fire wave. You have to defend them, otherwise something's being taken down. And well, you're gonna have to defend this Pyromancer if you don't want Daddy Daycare just getting it for free. And it looks like it's gonna be stealed out from under the noses of Daddy Daycare. Nachos able to pick up that Pyromancer, mitigating this lead that Daddy Daycare. One small win at a time.
Yeah. And after this fight, we do see finally some level disparity coming back in the way for Nachos Supremos. We do see this Charon having a lead level on this knee, albeit only by 2. The leads in the jungle and solo are still the same for Daddy Daycare. But the win con at the minute is End of Days on this Charon.
And that was the story of game 1. It was they're winning through End of Days or they aren't winning the game. And that's exactly what happened. They won through End of Days. Although Nachos Supremos getting the 5th most important objective in the game, the Draugr. Absolutely, you know, just great. I mean, you're an ADC. You got nothing else to do. Might as well do the Draugr. As Daddy Daycare and Nachos, they're preparing for this Fire Giant fight. They have to group up by it. I mean, there's nothing else to do. You aren't taking any Phoenixes without it. You aren't going to be able to take... It's possible you take the left tier 2 with it, but without it, but you aren't doing much else. And I think Daddy Daycare just need to take this fight. They need to do so much.
They need to not let this hell get to late game, because that is when Zelda is going to be able to run this game.
Yeah, and speaking about running this game, it seems as if Gabs was running this fight, but there was a kill out on Waddle. Waddle being picked off Sanctified Fields was used. Narcos did fall low. That's going to be an effective TKO on their jungler. It is now a 4v4. Narcos looking like he's going to sustain up back into this fight, making it a 5v4. And it's definitely a close fight as Daddy Daycare looked to not to re-engage, but disengage off of Nachos Supremos' re-engage.
Yeah, and this is a strength of having a hell in your comp, the amount of healing that you're given.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of healing that is being given out right now. What their healing is, although Mind of Gabs in need of healing quite recently. Although Raid Boss down as Waddle might just respawn. Mind of Gabs was able to back. Waddle respawns. It is still a 4v5, and this fight has gone on for a lot longer than it should have. I mean, they're chasing out Bearded, and they do get the kill on Bearded. Kashakat is low, and Waddle and Mind of Gabs are here. And it looks like they were looking for this tier 2. They don't get it, and they opt to either... They look to go to fire and look to take it.
Yeah. And this is entirely off the back of End of Days putting out an incredible amount of damage that team fight. Managing to just shred out Waddle at the start of the fight, and then managing to put out sustained damage all the way through. Guy is just, like, now that we're approaching the late game, he's making the space for team hits.
Yeah, Waddle is low, and it is
the kill on Waddle as they continue bringing down this Fire Giant. Nachos Supremos. This was a quite stark difference from 5 minutes ago. They were in that backseat. They were forced to play Daddy Daycare's game. Now Nachos Supremos making Daddy Daycare play their game. This is their game to lose, and Nachos Supremos has no intent on losing this one.
No, looking to try and get a clean 3-0, but I'm excited to see Daddy Daycare come back to this, having a very dominant set so far. Hoping to see if they'll be able to transition that back after losing a team fight.
Yeah, you lose one team fight and everything goes wrong. That's just the classic Smite story. Although, Nachos Supremos, they can't push for a Phoenix. They still have all of these tier 2s up. It makes it so much harder to push for a Phoenix. Mid tier 2 does fall, as does right tier 2. They look to reset, which I think is the smarter decision. Reset, get your items, push down this left tier 2, and then heal up, going for a Phoenix Siege.
Yeah, and I think it's now time to talk about what I'm sure everyone has on their mind.
Yeah, obviously Mind of Gabs. No, just kidding. It's Raid Boss with that.
It's the Red Boss build, and it's the Toxic Blade. Toxic Blade Horus.
You know,
my man is creating the meta right now. I hope everyone who's watching this has got a pen and paper out to note this down.
Yeah, I mean, it can work. He does auto attack. It gives him slight penetration, and it gives him attack speed, which pairs really nicely with this unupgraded mannequins. So, you know, gives him some nice stats. It gives him also, I think, like 100 health. So, feels pretty nice as End of Days. We saw this game 1. End of Days opting for that fail knot. I could see it on her, but
I see it a little bit more on the Chiron than the Ampere, to be honest with you.
I think Chiron goes into cooldown as soon as you press it. But like as soon as you use it, although someone who will be going on cooldown into that is Y Guy, as this Phoenix Siege is quite unsuccessful for Nachos Supremos. It's bearded, falling low, but no one else is able to capitalize on it. Does get the kill. That Phoenix is successful, but at what cost? Zelda is low. Alternate timeline saving them. Might just fall, being saved by so much. It's just End of Days. They got a Phoenix, but it's one person and one person only. Aegis being used by End of Days, and Mind of Gabs, he still has everything out. That blink is being used. He uses that jump. End of Days is in trouble. Mystic Rush is used the root. But Waddle, he disengages Raid Boss. The disagreement, Raid Boss looking for that healing, and the healing might just be what saves him.
Yeah. Chasing down this Chiron, though, this wastes a lot of time for Daddy Daycare to try and claim anything. 2 members have already respawned from Nachos Supremos. I don't even know if they get this. With the need they might do. But we do see the Geb rolling back in.
Yeah, I don't think Geb can really defend a tier 2. I don't think you can defend anything. I mean, sure, you can definitely defend Phoenix, but that's a given. Great black backflip by Kasha Cat. I mean, no one else is really able. Well, never mind. I was gonna say no one else is really pick you out, but Kasha Cat taking some unfortunate pathing and gets picked out. Stun is successful from Cat. Earth shattering stun her throughout the battleground. End of Days picking up the kill.
And I think Daddy Daycare being caught unaware here. This could be end. This could be the end, genuinely.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, your solo laner who's been the back of these fights almost every single time is down, and Cash Cat also is down. This Sanctified Fields can only do so much, but it might just be doing enough. Narcos is low. The ult is coming out from Raid Boss, knocking up quite a few. Cat is low. Centaurus is used. Waddle XP does fall, but that might not just matter. Waddle XP is not a vital point to defense, but you all know it is bearded, and he does fall, but Kasha Cat
does get up in time. It's a raid boss hashtag dual lane of Daddy Daycare versus the world, and that might not just matter. Nacho, take game number 3. They are going to the final.
And as the wonderful Pandora has just said, Nachos Supremos booked their ticket to the finals of the SDL playoffs. And what an incredible game from especially End of Days and Narcos. The End of Days just being the backbone of all of their DPS throughout Game 1 and Game 3. And then Narcos can't be taught down at any point for how well he was able to transition where his team needed him in the jungle. Finding the pickoffs, finding a little bit of pressure, even in Game 3 when they were behind, managing to just secure that little bit of an edge at any point he was needed to. But unfortunately, it's commiserations for Daddy Daycare, who are bowing out at third place, joint with whoever loses tomorrow night's set.
Yeah, I mean, third place is nothing to scoff at. You had a great run, especially your season. It was a good season. I mean, you have to admit, but Nachos Supremos, they honestly are one of the top teams. I mean, they are a top 3 team. There's no doubt
They're a top
about
2
it.
team now.
Yeah, they are quite literally a top 2 team now. It doesn't matter what anyone wants to say. They cannot not be a top 2 team.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, very, very well done to Nachos Supremos. I imagine they're all going to be celebrating their win right now. And commiserations to Daddy Daycare once again.
Yeah, Daddy Daycare had they played a set like no other team could in their position. Anyone else in that bracket, in their side of that bracket, couldn't have played a set like that. And that speaks volumes. As Daddy Daycare, they played lights out. They may have lost 3-0, sure. But they did everything. They gave it their all. They pulled out the jankiest jank and made it look good.
Games 1 and 3 were incredibly close. Game 2 was more of the Narcos show, but games 1 and 3 were genuinely close and could have gone either way.
Yeah, I feel like the change that was needed was Gabs. I mean, Gabs switching off the support town raid boss. Hey, you got to go in that support. I'll be solo. Let's hope I get that Nike. Let's go on. Let's get it. And Gabs, for a while there, he was running that game. I mean, you just kind of felt that aura. And, well, that aura, that's all that matters in these games. All right. Well, it looks like we are going to cut to a quick break for an interview with a member of Nachos Supremos.
I never know when to go. Don't even talk, but you sleep in my clothes. No, it ain't right. I've been stressing at night. We're together, but I feel alone. How long do I stand here in the fire? How long do I try before I'm on my own? How long do I walk across the wire? Stay till we fall.
All right.
Is wonderful Panda Bear Ash. And we're interviewing today Y Guy from Nachos Supreme, who have just won their set.
Hello.
Yeah, it's the Y Goat, as his good old name says. How's it going, man? How are you going to the finals?
We feel pretty good about it. We're all really tired. We were hoping that it wouldn't be a 5-game stretch just because Kat and Narcos really need to get some sleep for the next day. And we're really happy that we 3-0'd it. But they were really tough, and we had a lot of challenges along the way, not going to lie.
Yeah, big EU diff there. But, you know, I don't think I have to say this, but why did you pick that Achilles? You look so good on it. Was this something you've been practicing? Picks? Or...
No, Achilles is being played a lot. He's one of the top solo lanes right now. So they left it open, and it was either him or Odin, and I just took it, and I got to learn him better, obviously, but I'm just trying new things. Nike diff, though.
Very, very true. You looked great in every single one of those games. Although it was seeming like, you know, we didn't want to put the blame on this solo lane actually being good at this game, but I have to give props to you, Y Guy. You played a lights out set. You carried your team in some of these team fights that I didn't even think you guys had a chance of.
Well, I'm not going to take all the credit. It was a team effort. Days was where he was supposed to be. Cat was where he was supposed to be. Narcos was making calls alongside of everybody, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, you definitely were. As you just, I can't. You played lights out. Going into game number 3, what were you thinking? Because that was a great game 2 for you guys. Were you worried at all?
At the start, not gonna lie, I was worried because I was getting outlaned very early. I was down 4 levels mid-game, and we were just trying to farm. Zelda did a great job at just keeping our mental strong. Cat was a trooper for staying up as late as he is. It's like 4 a.m. over there, so, you know, props to them.
Yeah, big props to them. I do not envy those EU players all the way over the pond, but
hey, they signed up for it.
I mean, you aren't wrong. But yeah, there was another pick that we didn't really think of. This hell pick in game 3.
Well, yeah. What about
it? Although it was meta quite a bit, it's a bit of meta, but is this like a Zelda signature? At least from my knowledge, I don't really see him play it much.
Zelda signature, I don't know about that. He played it really well, but, you know, his signature got banned out every game, so we didn't have a choice but to play.
Yeah, you guys really didn't. I bet Zelda was just wishing for that Scylla.
Yes. I mean, his heals came in very clutch at very important times. We almost lost it at the end, and I'm just happy that we were able to pull it off.
All right, I have one last question for you before I throw it off to my good friend Ian.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any shout-outs?
I want to shout out Days for clutching that end game, Zelda for keeping our mentals up, Cat for staying awake as long as he did, and Narcos for making me look so good.
All right. Well, that has been it from me. I'm going to throw it over to Big Ian to close this one out.
Watching for the fair. Thank you all for coming out today and watching the fair semi-finals of the SDL playoffs. Congratulations once again to Nachos Supremos. Commiserations to Daddy Daycare. I've been the biggest Ian. Joining me on the cast has been the wonderful Panda Bear Ash. Big thank you to Vile on production as well. And remember, this week is going to be very exciting for all of you. We have got another semi-finals for SDL tomorrow where Phoenix go against AFK Farmers. And then on the Friday, we have the second half of the RSL playoffs to see who will be facing the Wingers in the finals. We have Clearly Hacking against Monkey Business. And then over the weekend, we've got the finals. So make sure you all stay tuned for that. Thank you for coming out. See you all next time.
Does manage to beat away.
That's gonna be a doggy out.
There is one
chains too.
That's gonna be Argus.
He smells him out. And a good Kraken will steal the Oni Fury.
I don't think so. Popping oh on it.
He steals it with the national.
Steals it.
Kappa just.
Doogie's in trouble. The heart bomb.
He is in trouble, but down there by Cowboy Chip.
No.
But Skipper
But he
tries
can't.
to go after it.
He can't win the auto. No tilting. You're all just pumped up, ready for game number 2. You're all talking to each other.
But this Phoenix under siege. Phoenix is at half. Jobek taken out. Section Cannon taken out by Turnabog.
Haley, you still don't win that fight. No.
And that means they're leaving this Yemoja up that Breezy played in game 1, which I thought looked really good. I think he pilots it very well.
Yeah, 2 halves. There you go. We got those 2 brain cells. We can talk about 2 different things now. Well, we working on.
And Zero Easy Does It is going to be focused on, and we're going to see a quadra kill.
And he looks like he's going to go down. Haley did use the ult already?
No.
The impale. He's insane.
And now, one's going to be subject to the Rama ults, both on target. What a great snipe